episode of Purl's Perspective. I'm Carine.
I'm Anahí.
And I'm Allie.
And today we are again knitting, as we always do.
Quelle surprise.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Never.
As always, we are your friendly neighborhood knitters from Canada, coming to you live every couple of weeks to just chat about what we're making, what we want to make, our lives, the state of the political climate, the state of the actual climate.
Small talk. Really.
Just small talk.
Just small talk.
Really nothing important.
Exactly.
Nothing too big.
Nothing too big.
Too heavy or weighty.
Yeah, I'm actually not certainly in the mood to talk about heavy topics.
I feel like, especially with the weather outside, it's very much a
Cozy day.
cozy stay indoors with hot chocolate,
100%.
a blanket, and
100%.
a good knitting project.
What are you guys drinking? I'm actually I finished my coffee and I didn't feel like having another beverage right now. But I might change my mind. Are you drinking something?
I am drinking something a little saucy, if I might say so myself.
Ooh,
okay,
saucy.
so here's the thing. I made myself a vanilla latte at home because I've got instant espresso and I'm at the very, very tail end of my bottle of vanilla syrup, so I need to get another one. And I made it, and I tried it, and I was like, this just isn't vanilla-y enough. So then I may or may not have added a shot of vanilla vodka. And now it's perfectly vanilla.
Perfectly.
And I was excited to use my cactus cup.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, Annie and I got matching cactus cups when we went to the Great Glebe garage sale last year.
Get the other cactus.
And Karine's using the other one.
Ooh, it's just plain water.
Not just plain water.
I mean,
Water's
that's
good
literally
for you.
what it is.
Water in a cactus cup is
But
not plain at all.
I wanted to push back on how much snow is outside, so I was like, cactus cup.
Absolutely.
They're freaking adorable, so.
Yeah, they're pretty great. They leak. Don't ever put one in your backpack, though, because it leaks.
Oh.
I've definitely had that happen to me.
Yeah,
But that's fine.
I love me a mason jar drinking cup, but they are not well sealed.
Yeah,
That is true.
that's okay.
Absolutely not.
So-
They're super cute though.
They are.
What is your, cozy drink of choice? Whatever, what's the one cozy drink that you're like, that is what I will,
I think it depends on the time of year, really.
Okay, for winter.
For me, it depends on the time of the day.
Oh, fair.
If it's early in the morning, I'm gonna have myself an extra sugary latte. But if it's like in the evening, I might have a tea or I might have a hot chocolate if I'm feeling spicy. The thing is, hot chocolate is kind of like one of those, it goes directly to your heart kind of drink.
So true.
But as I get older, I find milk heavier and heavier. So if I've already had coffee with milk that day, I'll think twice before having a hot chocolate at
fair.
night.
That's fair.
Yeah. What's yours?
I too am a lover of a good latte and hot chocolate, but in the winter, in the depths of December, January, when it's cold and it's dark, I love drinking hot apple cider.
Oh.
I will drink it by the gallon. And I'm like, I'm not bougie. I'll just go to the grocery store and I'll just buy the instant stuff.
Girl, you
But
are
it's
bougie.
so- okay,
Don't
but-
lie to me.
Okay, in this instance, I'm not being bougie when I go and I buy the instant stuff from the grocery store, but it's just so yummy, and it just warms the cockles of my cold, dead heart in the winter. My heart is only cold and dead in the winter because the inside matches the outside, right? But in the summertime, give me that lemonade. Give me that sparkling elderflower cordial. Give me that yuzu mandarin refresher, whatever fancy beverage you get at your bougie coffee shop. I'm in. If it's bubbly and it's fruity and it's cold, I'm all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the summer, I have, all my friends know this. If there's a drink in the menu that has elderflower in it, I'm going to order it. Because I may be many things, but one thing that I will always be
A basic bitch?
is an elderflower slut.
Nice.
I'm a slut for
It's
elderflower.
so yummy, though.
It's so good and fresh and herby, and anyway, I love it.
It's perfect. I didn't really see it here in Canada very much when I was growing up and when I was going through undergrad and through college. But when I moved to Wales for graduate school, it's everywhere. Elderflower, blackcurrant, blackberry. Those are the flavors du jour over there. And it just opened my eyeballs to how much more there is between lime, cherry, and, you know, that's pretty much it. Lemonade.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's it,
So
actually.
good. Yeah.
Carine,
fair.
when you want to get cozy, what do you drink?
I like, I'm very basic, but I do like herbal tea for when I'm like trying to be really cozy. Hot chocolate is like when I'm really feeling like I need like
Nostalgic.
Pick me up.
nostalgic. I need to pick me up. It's specifically the one we got in Dominican.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has a
my
little bit of
God.
cinnamon in it.
Yeah.
I made it not too long ago.
And
Same.
it's
so delicious.
It's like
Same,
dark
same.
chocolate with a little bit, like a hint of cinnamon.
It's
I
because
ma-
I make it with the nibs and not with ground
I
cacao.
chucked it into a milkshake a couple of weeks ago. Like I mixed up like it into the milk first, and then I put a couple scoops of vanilla ice cream in my blender, and then I put this like chocolatey milk mixture with it.
Yum. Okay, so here's what I did, because I am not afraid to admit I am bougie. So I have this, I have like a tiny espresso maker that has a little wand for the steaming, so you can like make yourself steamed milk for your coffee. Well, what I did is I put the chocolate tablets that we got from Dominican at the bottom of my steaming pot, and then I put a little bit of hot water just to like soften it up.
Yeah.
Then I topped it up with the milk and steamed the whole thing.
Mm.
And so it
That's
got
so
creamy,
smart.
foamy,
Yeah.
perfectly warm. It was just excellent. Excellent.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I
so
highly
that's-
recommend steamed hot chocolate. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Lex-
like they just did it right. I very much enjoy
But it's the
it.
low and slow cooking of it, right? Because like
Exactly.
I come from a family where when we make tea, it's not like bag in, cup, pour
No.
water on it, walk away. It's like I'm standing there over the stove nursing a pot of milk and spices
As
and
God
tea
intended.
for like 15 minutes. So the thought of making hot chocolate on the stove, like slowly simmering and stirring constantly for 10 minutes, that's totally normal to me.
Yeah.
I've been using this Dominican hot chocolate that we got, like, and making it that way. So good.
I've never not done it this way. I know some people use the microwave sometimes, but
I'm pretty sure
I
that's
think-
illegal.
Heathens. Straight to jail.
but it's always been on the
Right
stove
away.
for me. That like for me the bougie part is more for tea, because like if you're asking me, herbal tea is what I drink when I'm like, you know, I want to be chill. But
Yeah.
if you're asking with what my drink of choice is, I'm 100% a slut for green tea specifically.
Oh,
but if
green
it comes in a
tea.
bag, I refuse to drink it.
Do you like matcha as well?
I love matcha, and I'm one of those people.
It's hard
so,
to make though.
Well, it's literally it's not so hard. The problem is more a lot of people don't like to drink it because it has a very distinctive taste. It
I
literally
quite like
tastes
it.
like chlorophyll. You know what chlorophyll tastes like?
Yeah.
That's what it tastes
Can't
like.
say
It's
I'm
like
a fan.
it's
I
like.
quite like it.
But when you're in Japan, you can technically go through like you can have a tea ceremony or whatever, and they usually give you a little candy to suck on because it is very bitter.
Oh,
But
okay.
I love the bitter, so when I went, I refused to have the candy, and they were looking at me like, "You don't know what you're
Perpetual
asking
contrarian.
for." I was like, "No, I do."
Did you regret it?
No, absolutely not. I to this day I drink my matcha straight up. Like I don't do
Okay,
anything
no,
to it,
I-
and it's ceremonial or not ceremonial. It's like a high quality matcha that like you like
Yeah, but you're
nobody else
drinking
wants
the
to
good
drink.
stuff, though, right?
Yeah, well-
Anyway, speaking of bougie, Lexi has shared their cozy beverages, and you know what?
Yes.
I can't believe we all forgot to say this. So sorry, my supervisor's name is Leslie, and I'm thinking about work tomorrow. Lexi has said that their favorite winter beverage is a hazelnut praline hot chocolate with a shot of caramel syrup.
Oh my god, that
And
sounds
in
delicious.
summer, it's a strawberry milk bubble tea with Earl Grey and tapioca, which they then followed up by saying, "I am very bougie." To which I say, how did we forget about bubble tea? That's like the drink du jour in the summer.
Well,
We-
for people that
and also-
you don't like bubble tea, but like,
we go to knit night every Thursday, and I often pick. Actually,
do you want to
most of the time
Yeah.
I pick a bubble tea plate,
yeah.
and so I'm having bubble tea every week.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. And
And
I
my-
just come with my cup of like my little bottle of water.
I was gonna say, because you're a very
I
not
don't like tapioca.
you like sweet desserts and sweet treats,
but not
like
sweet-
not in
sweet
your
drinks.
drinks.
No.
I associate coziness with sweet hot milks.
Mm,
So if I'm drinking something warm, it's also going to be sweet. Sweet tea.
okay. See,
sweet
I like
hot
I like
chocolates,
hot bitter like
sweet
my heart.
coffee. Hot and bitter like you.
That's fine.
Oh my god.
What was that? Is that the printer?
I don't know why we put the printer back here. It doesn't even work. I'm so
all good.
sorry, bud.
Oh wow, that was a loud bump.
Oh, that was
a
loud.
bump.
Don't worry, we'll do the concussion protocol on her tonight.
Afterwards, I'll let you guys know if I
How many
start seeing
fingers
double.
am I holding up?
60, no.
Oh, man.
Ruh-roh.
Uh,
No.
Oh,
Yikes.
jeez. We are actually knitting.
Yeah, we
Aren't
are
we?
knitting.
yes.
I don't think I've seen that project from you.
Mine, this one,
Yeah.
you haven't, because I started it, I want to say after our last live stream. Today is the 9th, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Then I have definitely started it after the last live stream. Okay, so you know how in January I was really focusing on getting through some of my whips,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this last time, and I wasn't going to start anything new until February 1st. Well, I was successful on both fronts with that. I made a lot of progress on 3 whips, including this one, which I think I was working on last time.
Yay!
I just finished it this
and by
past
the way,
Friday.
we match. And it
Yeah, we do. Look at that. Unintentional, unplanned. But yeah, I just finished this on Friday, so I'm so happy. I still need to block it, so it is a little bit tight. Actually, I'm going to take it off. I'm getting really warm. And I ran out of the pink, so the top of the other side is the gold as well. But that's okay. Pink and gold is like such a good combo.
It's
of
a
my
really
pieces.
good
It's-
combo.
Beautiful.
And I feel really good because the gold was left over from some other projects, so I feel like I'm really, like actually getting in touch with my stash and using what I have.
Yeah, look at you.
So that is one of the whips that is, made some progress on. But this, if I can just, okay, it's all bunched up on the needles because my longer cable is attached to another whip of mine that I really need to finish. But this is the Aramophilia shawl by Amba O'Brien. It's named after the flowering emu bush, which is a plant native to Australia where the designer lives. And it is a shawl pattern. Something's beeping.
Something is beeping.
Is that your
What is
computer?
that?
I don't know.
I've never heard this before.
I think my phone's getting a call. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it wasn't
First time
obnoxiously.
for everybody.
Excuse us. As you might remember, we don't have a real camera. So we use my phone as a webcam.
It works.
It
The
works. It
graphics
looks
are
really
great, yeah.
nice. Yeah, but it just started to get a call in the middle of the stream. I'm so sorry.
That's so
But as
funny.
you were saying,
As I was saying, so this is the Aramophilia shawl by Amba O'Brien. I knit this shawl in early 2023 using the 2021 Shirley Bryan Yarns Advent Calendar.
oh, Shirley
And-
Bryan yarns, I love
Love
them.
her. And I knit the pattern exactly as the designer intended it, with the 10 colors, faded them when she said to fade them, and I ended up with a lot of leftovers. So much, in fact, that after I finished my first version of the shawl and I was wearing it to a family dinner, and my cousin went, "Oh my god, that's so pretty," I literally went, "Here, you take it. I'm going to make a second one. I have enough yarn." So now I'm making version 2, which is using all the leftover yarns.
Yeah.
But I still have so much left over of the advent calendar that I have planned, and hopefully this works out, to just go through all the rest of it.
Okay.
So I put a photo on my Ravelry page, and I think I also have one on my Instagram page that shows the fade of yarn. So I promise we're not doing just sad beige. This fades into blue, which fades into pink, which fades into purple. So there is going to be like a lot more fun colors. And like one of the next ones after my current one is like this like super vibrant yellowy green.
Oh my god,
So-
that's almost neon.
Yeah.
So like there is color in here. It's just the start of it was more of like a sandy color.
Like a sandy brown?
Yeah.
For sure.
So, yeah, I'm really excited. I've been wanting to make this version 2, like my second version of it, for a long, long, long time, but
Yeah.
I really wanted to focus on getting some whip dones.
Yeah.
So now I have been kind of ignoring the whips in favor of this.
Yeah.
But I do have quite
That's
a bit of
okay.
travel coming up, both personally and professionally, in the next couple of weeks. And so I'm going to have a lot of like flight time,
Yeah.
airport time, hotel time. So I'm going to be bringing my whips with me on those trips.
Right.
And leaving this one behind.
Question
So
from the
that
chat.
Yes.
Is the shawl knit flat and you put it on circulars, or is it
Yes.
actually knit circular?
Yes, no, the shawl is knit flat. First of all, I'm in the middle of a row. Secondly, my 47-inch cable is attached to another shawl, and my 40-inch cable is attached to a sweater. So I'm kind of a little stymied.
With a 32.
But that's okay. That's okay.
We do what we can.
It's going to be big and beautiful, and my plan is, because of how much yarn I have, I'm probably going to make it bigger than the pattern calls for. The designer has you do 2 repeats of the chart. I'm probably going to do 3. So it's going to be humongous.
Nice. Because the intention is for you to get rid of the leftovers of the same yarn,
Not rid of. Actually, this is something I would like to... Yeah, so... This morning, I watched, not the most recent episode of Needles at the Ready, but, like, one of their ones from January. Kevin and Ray, hilarious. These 2 men have the cutest banter. They're a married couple. I love them so much. Anyway, their podcast is great, and I was watching an episode this morning, and they were talking about wanting to use up stuff that they had in stash, and they made the good point of saying, like, get rid of stash is the wrong thing for them to say.
That's a good point.
They want
to enjoy it.
They want to make use of their stash. So I don't know.
That's a good distinction that I welcome.
Yeah, so that you don't see
so
it
that's
as a
what
negative
I'm doing.
thing.
I'm making use of my stash.
Yeah.
And as soon as I'm done, I will have a shawl to match the one that I gave my cousin.
Yeah.
There you go.
I have a lot of feelings about my personal stash, and I think we've mentioned it before, where I don't even like calling it a stash anymore.
Yeah, that's true, because it has like this
it
connotation
has
of
this negative.
Like you're hiding something, or you're ashamed of it,
and
when
I'm
you shouldn't
100%
be.
not ashamed of it. I made those purchases.
It's a hoard, guys. It's a hoard.
It's my collection. It's my yarn
hoard.
collection. And of course, there are some parts of it that I'm not enjoying, or that I've grown out of love with, for example, or some colors that I thought years ago
to you as much
were my favorite colors, and now they just don't speak to me anymore, like you said. But that doesn't mean that I'm ashamed of having the amount that I have, or that I want to, quote unquote, get rid of it, like you said. So I'm trying not to call it a stash. I'm trying to call it my collection.
I have gone through, so I just recently moved house, and as part of that meant moving my yarn collection. And I went through, and all of the yarn that, as I was like unpacking it and organizing it and sorting it out, I was like, about. Because maybe I bought it a few years ago, maybe tastes have changed, whatever. I put it into a pile specifically for gift knitting. Because if there's one thing that I get a lot of joy out of, it's like making socks for other people, making things for my sister, for my mom.
Yeah.
And so I put that yarn aside specifically in a place where like I can still see it, I can still interact with it. I haven't decided to give it away as skeins of yarn.
But it's like
it's
your
ready.
go-to for because then it's like
Exactly.
this is not necessarily something you would wear yourself, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy the process of making it and then gifting it to
So
someone.
You have assigned it to be for gifting.
Exactly. So one of my good friends recently became engaged. They're going to be getting married in September, and I have decided to knit her and her fiance the Team Bride, Team Groom socks.
Oh,
cute! From Kyla? And Into the Wilder Knits. Hold on, let me pull them up. They're so adorable, and I was going through my stash the other day, and I was like, this pile of gift knitting, and I was like, oh my god, this one and that one, that'd be perfect. I hadn't wanted to make them for myself because like maybe they're not quite like my color scheme, but I was like, oh, I know for a fact that Ariel likes these colors, and I know for a fact that Brandon's gonna get a kick out of whatever they are. So
that's fun.
Let me just pull up Kyla.
Mora says they have so much gifting yarn.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna hold this in front of the screen.
I love the idea of just
Team Bride, Team Groom. And I think you can get ones that say, Team Bride, Team Groom, and then the socks, they also have the chart for Bride and Groom.
They look
and then
very
I think,
sporty.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to be. So they're really cute.
So cute.
So, Ariel, I hope you're not watching. And if you are, oops.
I really like the concept of recategorizing your yarn into for me and for gifting.
Yeah, for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's so true that sometimes part of what we've collected is just not our style anymore, or not our preferred colors anymore.
And like we were saying last time, sometimes I think you buy stuff without realizing subconsciously that you're actually buying it for the sake of somebody else. You just don't know it, right? Whether it's because I'm going to gift it to one of you because it's not a colorway that I would actually work with, but I know that one of you would, or if it's because subconsciously I already know that it's going to be gift knitting to somebody,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, I see somebody wearing
I totally
this.
get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice to have a ready-made pile so that if somebody's just like, I'm going through a rough time, you could be like, bet, I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Hold my beer. I've got you.
Let me grab my needles. Like,
I love just like when people give me news of their families growing or they're moving or something special's coming up. My first instinct is I gotta start knitting. I gotta start knitting for something.
Yep.
I have to admit, it
I
took
don't
me a
always follow
while.
through though, but
It took me a while to start gift knitting. I think for the longest time I was only knitting for myself because, well, first of all, it was insecurity. Thinking like, oh,
Like, they
I don't think
weren't
I'm good
gonna
enough.
like it.
Yeah, or like I'm not good enough to like gift my knitting yet. And then it was more like, especially with sweaters, I was like, but I put so much effort into doing this. It should be mine.
exactly.
and then I made my first sweater for my mom, which gave me a like nice fuzzy feeling because like she very much appreciated it. She's a knitter herself, and she was very happy. And then the second one was for my partner, and he also was very appreciative of it. And like, yeah, I think it took me a while, but now I understand and appreciate like the joy of gift knitting, which I did not before.
Man, Maura has said, with both of my sister's pregnancies, I started knitting baby blankets within half an hour of her telling me, lol. Amen. And Lexi has mentioned getting a lot of yarn in an estate sale and having that intentionally for gift knitting, which is really nice.
Okay, that's an excellent
smart.
reason to rescue yarn from an estate sale.
Yes, and it is rescuing.
And it is rescuing it because
rescuing.
otherwise it'll go mothy and it'll be unusable.
Don't want that.
Don't want that.
So-
Yeah. What are you knitting, Carine?
This is the Rocket Tee, my second Rocket Tee. I think I was knitting the same thing last
first one you
week.
were
Yeah.
rocking it.
Yeah, well, no, as we explained last time, it got a little snag, and then it's still doable, but the snag was like taken care of, but it kind of annoyed me, so I just decided to make a second one.
And it's so good. It's going really
So
well.
yeah, this is what it looks like right now. It's kind of like on its way.
So cute.
Oh my gosh! I feel like every time I see you, you've gotten like another like 4 inches on it.
It's not like that's
like
the
I
thing,
literally
it's
saw
such
you less than 24 hours ago, and I feel like you've made so much progress.
It's just such an easy pattern to do.
Yeah.
If
right?
you have not made a Rocket Tee by Tanis Lavallee,
It's so easy, and it's so nice, and it's the perfect summer wear.
Yeah.
Like perfect, like because you can wear it with like your bathing suit under, or even like
as
a
a
little
t-shirt?
like top, or even as a t-shirt. Like it's so versatile, and like I just love it because it's very airy. So
Yes.
like you're not gonna
So-
sweat in it.
The pattern is designed to have stripes where you're holding like 2 yarns held together. So like a fingering weight and a mohair weight, or in this case, 2 strands of tencel. Like that's what Kevin's
Yeah,
doing.
so I'm doing 2
And
strands
so-
and then 1 strand.
no, actually the pattern is stripes of one strand of fingering, 1 strand of mohair,
Oh,
one
sorry.
fingering, 1 mohair.
Either way, but it's meant to have slightly opaque stripes.
Yeah.
And I just want to come in and say that if opaque stripes, slightly translucent stripes is not your thing, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You can choose whatever yarns you want. You can make the whole thing solid if you want. Like, you're not required to stripe it.
Yeah.
That's just the way the designer
pattern
wanted
is-
to have
I
it.
actually think
that's what her
this would
samples are.
look
But just,
really good as like a sporting, like golf tee almost.
Cute.
If we did it in all like bamboo or all cotton, it might be like a little sturdier and more structured.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be as flowy, but it would be beautiful in stripes, like 2 color stripes.
Yeah.
I actually have a bunch of cotton in my stash that's
Me
like left over
too.
from other stuff, and I'm like, that might be fun to just stripe those bits together.
Yeah, just
It would-
see what happens.
Yeah, like it would all be like you wouldn't be able to see through it because it'd all be cotton, but I think it'd be fun to just like have mismatched stripes.
Yeah,
Rainbow.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
So too many
about
plans,
you?
not enough time.
Well, I
I see
continue
this
with
is,
this whip. I continue with my partner's sweater. I had to
Yay.
undo the first sleeve that I was done with.
Why?
Well, because I had a feeling that it was too small, and I had him try it on, and indeed the body fits him well,
Yeah.
but the arm was too tight. My boy doth have some powerful guns.
I mean,
And
you
I
don't,
thought,
you
he
don't get
does.
nothing out of weightlifting. Just saying.
yeah, well, I mean, like he's a big hunk of a man, so I figured let me just get him to try it on, and just see, because I had a feeling and I was right. So
I
I frogged the sleeve, and I included I picked up a couple extra under the arm where there was a gap, and that got me to the stitch count for one size over.
Bilbo has some thoughts.
Yeah, he's snoring.
Sorry.
He's
he
snoring
himself is a thought.
He's snoring his thoughts away.
So you cast on for the sleeve a size up from the body.
I picked up the amount of stitches that I had, but in the gap, I picked up more.
Some extra, yeah.
Some extra to bring me up to the next size
of
stitch count.
okay.
Yeah.
And I will be following the instructions for
that
the next
one. Yeah.
size.
That's a smart
for the
way to do
sleeves
it.
only.
Yeah.
That's a smart way to do it.
So we'll see how it goes. I think between that and just a good old aggressive block, we'll end up with a good fit for the sleeve. But it's still not gonna be like a loosey-goosey oversized sweater, which I think is what we were going for. When
you
when
want to
we
be
picked
able
this.
to have it fit comfortably under a jacket.
Yeah, exactly. This is not gonna be like a flouncy.
Yeah.
Flouncy thing. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on. I have to be honest, I'm kind of getting over this whole pattern already. I feel like I've made a lot of stockinette.
You're at like 3 sleeves so far, and you still have 2 to go.
Exactly. Well, and I think I've said this before, but like the fun part was up here with the color work, and I just want to make this again.
Okay, you know what you need? You
A
need
matching one for me. Yes.
Also true. I was gonna say you need a stockinette knitter in your life.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some. I'm assuming most people know this designer. If not, go follow her online. Her name is Joji Locatelli. She's an Argentinian designer.
Yeah, and her
based in
designs
Buenos
are
Aires.
beauty.
Incredible. Like her stuff. Not only is her like whole ethos to be like as inclusive as possible to everybody, but she's actually just hilarious. I haven't met her in person. I've just been following her online for a few years. We're almost at parasocial relationship status, but like not quite. Let's not make it weird. Anyway, she obviously knits a lot. She's a pattern designer, but her mother, Virginia, also knits. And so a lot of the times, Joji will like start a pattern or like start a sample where she will get through the yoke. She'll get through all the like math heavy bits in the design. And then when it comes to just like the body where it's just a tube or just the sleeves, she hands it off to her mom and her mom finishes the pattern for her.
There you go.
And it was, when I saw that was a thing that they were doing, I was like, I need one of those in my life. And it looks like you do too.
I certainly do.
Thanks for all the compliments, Lexi.
Oh. Thank you very much. I do agree. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
It's from this book. This book is called Moon and Turtle. And it's from Canadian designers Kiyomi and Sachiko Bergen. They're based in Vancouver in British Columbia, and they are twins, first of all, which is adorable. And second of all, they have very parallel but different designing styles. And they've come up with multiple collections over the past few years. And this book really spoke to me. It's a lot of, well, they call it knitting patterns with variations, but essentially it's kind of like a modular knitting book. They have a lot of basic patterns like hats and raglans and cardigans and, you know, scarves and hoods and such. But for every pattern, they give you possible color and structure variations and fit variations. And I just find that so helpful and so inclusive and fun that you could potentially make probably 3 or 4 versions of each of these patterns and never end up with the same.
Which gives so much value to patterns. I know we've had this discussion before, but if a designer has a mega pattern like that where they've got multiple variations and they're charging $20 for it, I will buy it without a blink.
Yeah.
But if a designer is charging $12, $14, $15 for a pattern that only has one view, but then they come out with a different view of the pattern as a separate product.
Yeah.
First of all the power to them if that's how they structure their business. Nothing wrong with that. I'm less likely to buy it
as a consumer. Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I don't often re-knit patterns, but if a pattern has multiple views to it, I'm probably going to re-knit it.
I'm more likely to re-knit it.
Yeah.
And
Which
so that's
means I'm
one
more
of the
likely
things
to
that I
buy
love
it.
about this book. And this sweater came from there. It's actually the one that's on the cover, and it's called the Cordy. The Cordy sweater. I love it. It's a round.
It's so good.
It's a round yoke, and it's very enjoyable to make. It's worsted weight.
Okay.
So
Knits up
essentially,
quick.
if you don't drag your feet like I have, you could be done pretty quickly. But thank you so much for commenting on that. I'm really enjoying it. I want to make it again, but I just want to be done with the goddamn sleeves. Question from a new friend, Sherlanda. Is the rocket tee fun to make?
Yes, I absolutely love it. This is my second one, so it's
I've
definitely
got plans for more.
I think for me it was also just, like I said, the versatility of it, and it is an easy pattern, and if you've never done like little lace details, it has like the tiniest, like not tiny as in like small, but like there's only like, I can't really see, but like there's only like 2, 3, 4
so
like,
it's a raglan
it's
shape.
literally 6 stitches of tiny lace at 4, like around the sleeves, so on this side,
So super easy.
it's so easy.
The pattern is a raglan in design, which means that you are only doing increases, not decreases.
Yeah.
Increases at 4 points around on the front and the back of each shoulders, as Carine has showed you. That is far and away the best introductory style of garment making, if you've never made one, is to start with a raglan.
Yes, because there's not a lot of thinking.
It gets
to do.
a lot. It's much clearer when you're trying to read your stitches as to if something's gone wrong or not, because the only place you have like action, aka the increases, are in those 4 locations.
Yeah.
Versus something like this is a round yoke, which means I'm doing increases evenly across the whole length of the row. That can be a little bit tougher to read your stitches and see if you've made a mistake if you're not very experienced in doing that. So for sure, the rocket tee is fun and easy to make.
For me, it was really fun because the pattern is made in a way that you get to a touch point or a milestone every 8 rows.
Yeah.
That's right?
Every
So like
stripe.
when you get started, like every couple of rows, you're like, oh, I get to do an increase row. And then you just go. And then, oh, another increase row and go. And even when you like get to split for the sleeves where there's no more shaping involved, you're still
8 rows.
8 rows and you get to change colors.
Oh no,
and
I lost my
and you
stitch
get to change
marker.
colors. And so it's very gamified that way. Like very small wins. So that made it really fun for me.
It's easy to it's easy to see the progress, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like every 8 rows, you're like, small win.
Small win.
I just want to jump very minutely back in the chat. There was a question earlier about knitting flat on circular needles.
Oh, yeah.
So I've finally gotten to the end of the row, and I can actually show that. So as you can see, here's one needle, there's the other needle, the cable's in the middle. I'm basically treating this like it's one super long straight needle. I knit across, then when I go back, I flip it over, and I knit back across, and then I flip it over, and I go back across. So putting something that's knit flat on circular needles, if you just visualize it as being one giant needle, straight needle, really
easy.
shouldn't trip you up after the first couple of rows.
Yeah.
I've gotten to a point in my knitting practice where I prefer to start...
Yes, you absolutely can, Lexi. Yes, you absolutely can.
Can you do it as a beginner knitter? Yes. I've gotten to a point where everything I make, I prefer to put it on circulars anyway.
I don't think I even own straight needles anymore.
When I started, I
often.
only had straight needles, and I only did flat knitting, and then I discovered circular, and then after I discovered circular, I discovered knitting flat on circular needles, and now, no more straight needles.
I really like it.
It's also great too because then it doesn't require as many tools in your kit box, right? Like I have some shawls. Well, let me start that again. I have some shawls that I knit on a circular needle that's 47 inches long. I have since used that 47-inch cable to knit much smaller things.
With like magic loop?
With magic loop.
Yeah.
Or with still flat, but just on a really long needle.
Yeah.
But I haven't had to buy shorter ones because the long one works perfectly fine.
What's the name of the pattern again?
This is the Eremophilia shawl.
With an H?
Hold on. I will pull it up and show it because...
We will put it in the show notes.
O'Brien.
Yes, it will definitely go in the show notes, but I don't have every page of the pattern. I only have the pattern page that I'm currently working off of. So I'm just going to flash Ravelry again, folks. Sorry.
Up a little bit.
Erimophilia shawl by Amba O'Brien.
It's named after the flowering emu bush, which is a plant native to Australia.
I thought emu was an animal.
It is.
And there's also a plant?
There's also a plant.
Are they
Ooh la la.
are they related?
I have no idea.
Does one look like the other?
I actually don't know. I've never... Hold on, I'm going to look this
never
up now.
seen the emu plant.
I mean,
need
I've
to
seen
look
the
this
emu
up.
bird, but I've never
Yeah.
seen the plant.
Oh my god, have I told you the emu man story about my dad?
No.
Lols. Okay, so, this is
I'm getting a little warm.
emu bush. Let me just look this up first. Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
It's like, they almost look... Oh, that's a really crappy photo, though. Emu bush. So they're these beautiful little purple flowers.
Oh.
Anyway, real cute. Okay, so funny story about my dad, because I can't not share it now that I've mentioned it. So we have some family friends that are in Canberra, which is the capital of Australia. And when I was like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6, we went out to visit them because we were living in Indonesia at the time. Short flight, hop, skip, and a jump across. So we went to visit. And while we were there, we went to, I don't even know where. It must have been like some sort of nature preserve or something for like a picnic one day. And so we're sitting at these long picnic tables and we have lunch and there's emus around because it was a nature preserve. Like they're all hopping, doing their thing. And this one bird, because they're all socialized because people are there all the time, sticks his head over my dad's shoulder and goes for like something on the table. And my dad, out of just pure instinct, grabs a frisbee from off the table and whacks the bird in the head. And it like just pulls away and like walks up. It was totally fine. It was totally fine. The bird was totally fine. But just like, you know, to get the emu away from the lunch. And,
Jail.
Immediately jail.
and one of the children of these family friends is watching my dad this whole time and he goes, "Emu man."
Forever known as
God.
Emu
So
Man.
every once
That's
in a
his
while,
power now.
I don't know why the story comes up every once in a while, but we'll always be like, "Emu man." Anyway,
Emu Man.
we had to protect lunch. Lunch was important, I guess.
The
You know,
hero
so-
we all deserve.
That's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, it was great. That was a fun story. I don't really remember much of that trip because I was so young, but I would love to go back to Australia again in the future.
Me too. I hear they have great yarn.
Pete, next time you're going, just
Let us
letting
know.
you know, we might jump in the suitcase with you.
Oh man, it's a long flight though to be in a suitcase.
Oh, that's
like,
okay. I'll survive.
You'll survive.
To see
Troll.
to be closer to New Zealand and to see Australia.
Also a beautiful place, a beautiful part of the world that
Like,
I've
yeah.
been lucky enough to visit. Yeah.
We all have been to like a
Lots of
na-
places.
but like individually we've
Oh,
been
yes.
to like nature places, right?
Yeah.
Like nature parks,
Yeah.
or like animal like
Preserves.
conservatories. Have you been?
I don't think so.
No?
What do you mean, like a zoo?
I guess. Yeah.
No, not so much like a zoo. Nature preserves are usually like protected jungle, forest land, whatever.
Nope.
You
Where
haven't?
people can
Nope.
visit, animals can roam
Like-
free, but they're like,
Like
Nope.
Park Omega.
Nope.
You haven't been to Park Omega?
Nope.
Okay, well, we gotta take you. We gotta take you there. Maybe for your birthday.
"Fine, go
You
see
know
the
what
wolves."
I would love to do, and I know it's expensive as hell, but I would love to go in
The wolf
like
cabin?
the wolf cabins overnight because it's like freaking. I think it's like $500.
It's
like,
expensive.
It's crazy expensive. But like to literally sit and have wolves come up to. I don't care if they're paid to come and see me. I so like
They're
with
paid
food,
actors.
obviously.
So
But,
in
like,
Gatineau Park, which is a big national park close
Provincial
to
park.
us, provincial park
Yeah.
close to us, you can rent a cabin overnight that has clear
Like
walls.
it's glassed on 3 sides.
It's glass on all 3 sides.
And
And it's called Wolf Cabin because...
it's in Montebello. So
Sorry, it's not in
Gatineau.
Gatineau. It's not in Gatineau.
Gatineau.
Oh, it's in Montebello, Quebec. And it's located specifically near where there's like a wolf reserve.
Yeah.
And so overnight, the wolves are so used to people being in the cabin that they are comfortable approaching.
Yeah.
Right? Of course
They're curious. It's great.
They're curious. So, of course, like, the instructions are don't
go outside. Don't
be an idiot.
Right? And don't taunt them. So you have to be really respectful. But you can really, like, immerse yourself in, like, deep in the forest, deep in the park, and just enjoy seeing the animals roam around
like,
in the wild.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be like such a like beautifully like almost like romantic. I want to say romantic. Like if my partner said like we're going there, I'd be like yes please, because I don't want like 50 people. I just want like, you know, like just 2 people, or like I don't want a whole group, because I kind of want to like just enjoy the show of the like the wolves coming close to us. Like that to me is like everything.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Nature's cool.
So in Park Omega, they have like a close experience to that, where if you go to Park Omega is an animal reserve. Well, it's a natural.
Well, the wolf cabin's part of it.
It's a natural reserve. But like they have other animals other than wolves, and during the day you can actually see them and like bring food, like you're driving through, but like they'll come to your car, kind of like other reserves where it's like, oh shit, you have a carrot for me, like
you can buy official carrots.
You can buy official carrots and give them out.
And so the part where they have the wolves, you can like go down a set of stairs, and there's like a clear viewing area where it's a little sunken, so you have a chance of like just standing there and looking at the wolves approach and eating or lounging or snoring. It's pretty cute. I quite like it. I'm not like super down with the concept of zoos, but natural reserves, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm more down with the concept of.
I love the zoo though, but
animal preservation. So if the goal is to help preserve the animal or the race or take care of them, especially if it's animals that cannot be released in the wild, then I'm okay with that. Where I'm not okay is when we kind of like
capture them for
that sake, and then just kind of like use them and like look at them and laugh at them, and like, you know, like that part annoys me for entertainment purposes. So because at the end of the day, I understand that zoos have to like pay for their bills, and the way to do that is to like essentially get people to look. But there are zoos that are doing it the right way, and most of them are not so much zoos as
like research centers
or like areas or like parks, or like, you know, they have a bigger
well, like the Smithsonian National Zoo, for example, in Washington DC, they have like their conservation programs are the reason why the zoo exists. Like the zoo is not today, obviously it was opened originally for like entertainment purposes, but today it's the zoo exists so that it can fund the conservation programs. Like they have there are a couple of giant pandas from China, and in partnership,
I freaking love giant pandas.
And in partnership with
they're so funny.
They're so cute.
Whatever program authority it is in China is working on like a breeding program so that they can get the population big enough so that some pandas can actually be re-released to the wild. Because the population of giant pandas is so small right now that they pretty much almost exclusively
that's what I like, where you use that power that, you know, like you use this information, that power for the greater good of that specific species.
And I think it was don't quote me on this, but I think it was one of the zoos was it in Alberta that worked with the Canadian government to raise a large enough herd of bison that they could then be re-released into the Great Plains parts of the US and Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because there's bison in it's not Banff National Park, that's the wrong one. But there's bison that were, I'm completely butchering this. Several years ago, a herd of bison was re-released into what is today considered a national park in central Canada. I'm blanking on which one. First time in like almost 130 something years that bison had been free roaming in that park, because in the 1800s, the colonizers had this big program of killing the bison in order to subdue the indigenous populations. Racism, essentially. They did a racism, and they did they forcibly killed all of these bison. And so now, in partnership with Indigenous stewards and groups in the areas, they have since been able to bring the bison back. And that was in part because of the zoos and the conservation authorities that they were working with, who were able to get the herd large enough to release it into the wild.
I think there was also correct me if I'm wrong, like a few, I want to say decades ago, maybe not even that long, where they reintroduced wolves also in Yellowstone Park because they, like Canadian wolves, because they had literally like decimated the population. Like there was a at least one or two like group of wolves that had been like, and so the like they weren't there anymore. So the population of deer and whatever prey was so high that they needed to reintroduce wolves into the area. Right. So they used Canadian wolves to reintroduce in Yellowstone Park.
Cool.
Yeah, they did, and they just released recently. I saw it on the National Geographic social media. I think it was on Instagram. I saw it, but National Geographic just like showed off the results of doing that.
Yeah,
and as a result, it has actually had physical changes on the landscape of Yellowstone National Park.
Nice.
Because the wolves being in the area has meant that herd sizes have become more like compatible with the resources in the area, and as such, herds have not gone into specific areas of the park where they used to, because that's where the wolves roam, which has meant that there's been less erosion on the river banks, which meant the rivers have not moved as much as they have in past years. And as such, without moving as much, some of the aquatic life has been able to flourish because it's been, more consistent, and beavers have been able to dam in air. Anyway, it's just like, it's this huge chain effect. It's really cool.
It essentially just shows like how much of an impact we as humans have if we just take one tiny,
and I think it was only like 11 wolves. Like,
no,
it wasn't a lot.
It wasn't a lot, but the point is, like, because we came and we just took one predator out, just one, one
balance the equation.
Yeah, like one, what do you call it? Like the chain, one link from the chain. There we go. One link from the chain, and you unravel the whole thing, and then the second that link is back on, it's like
symbiosis.
Just goes to show, maybe, nature has a balance and it knows what it's doing. Maybe don't touch it. Maybe leave it alone.
Maybe let's leave it where it is.
Maybe just stop messing with it.
Can you just not?
Can you just...
I don't know.
While you were talking, I got a little panicky because I noticed a drop stitch like all the way around to the beginning of the end, and I was like scrambling to find a stitch marker, but I saved it. Don't worry, folks, it's all good. She'll live.
Honestly, I feel like at this point, if you just like did short sleeves on that sweater and was like, here, Trevor,
he would still wear it.
He'd still wear it.
I mean, last week he made a saucy comment in the chat where he's like, I'll wear the sweater when I'm 100.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay.
All right, sir. Careful there.
Are you sure you want the sweater?
Yeah.
You better be careful right there. Nice, a good lad.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of gift knitting, I have an update on, I can't remember if I've mentioned before, that a couple years ago I knit my mom a pair of socks. She wore them once. Then they accidentally ended up in the dryer. She hands washes her socks. These just got caught in the leg of her jeans, complete by accident. They ended up in the dryer. They felted. They shrunk. She was distraught when she realized that she could no longer wear them, and she gave them back to me because she's like, I feel so bad. Maybe there's something you could do about these. Obviously, you cannot unfelt wool. Well, I gave them to one of my coworkers who has an 8-year-old daughter, and ever since I gifted them to her, she's been like holding them against her feet, being like, do they fit yet? Do they fit yet? Do they fit yet? And yesterday I received a photo with the caption, they fit. So I'm not going to show the photo because, privacy, especially for minors. But I just wanted to update y'all that if you accidentally felt a pair of socks, they can go to a new recipient who will love them equally as much.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Don't throw them away.
So Lexi says that the UK has no large natural predators anymore, but recently they reintroduced the pine marten into Wales, and it's already having a massive positive effect on the landscape.
Hey, there you go.
There are less gray squirrels destroying natural habitats, and things are starting to come back into balance. That's like,
fantastic.
See, again, it's like
you remove one link,
or you add one thing, and then it's like, holy crap! It's like, yeah.
It's nature's a wonder.
Nature is a wonder. It is.
Yeah, when humanity's no longer here, the earth will be just fine.
The thing is,
She will heal.
you know what's frustrating to me? It's the amount of knowledge that we have that we could use to actually help a lot of and some do. It's not like everybody is like screw nature, right?
All comes down to money.
But that's the thing, is at the end of the day, it's more people asking themselves, how does it benefit me if I'm helping the bees, for example, right? But you should want the bees to survive, because if they don't survive, we're all screwed.
Neither do we.
But like but it's that mentality of like, we have so much potential to help, and then instead we choose to not always, but often enough I feel like we are the kind of species that tends to, in French we say, vaut mieux prévenir que guérir, which essentially means it's better to prevent than to actually cure. But I feel like humanity, we prefer to cure than to prevent.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think until we learn that lesson of it is better to prevent than to cure, we will not, like,
in
nothing
Spanish
will
we
change.
say it's es mejor prevenir que lamentar. It's better to prevent than to be sorry.
I feel like there's so much, French and Spanish have so many, like,
I know.
different, like expressions that are like, it's the
English
same.
is just a colonizer language. We have words from everywhere.
No, but you also have, like, German and English, I think, have a lot of, like, common ground. Right?
No, they come,
The
I think,
roots
from
are
the same...
both Germanic, but I think they've gotten away from each other.
That's true.
It's interesting because a lot of people will say, why is it goose and geese but not moose and meese? And this is an example of how this is a colonizer language that's just amalgamated things.
Because this language is actually just 3 raccoons in a trench coat.
Really, truly, because goose comes from, I think, a Latin origin, if I remember correctly. Whereas moose comes from, I think it's an Anishinaabe word. Mm-hmm. It's indigenous in origin. I want to say it's Anishinaabe or Algonquin. I could be wrong. And that's why the plural of moose is moose and not meese. Because they come from different language roots. But they're both still English words.
Kind of like octopus. You might think that the plural of octopus is octopi, but it's not.
It's octopus. Because it's Greek in origin, isn't it?
It's Greek. It's not Latin.
This is the thing. I feel like that's what fascinates me about language is, like, whatever language you take, the evolution of that language is, like, the most fascinating thing. Like, somebody... there's a lot of researchers who've said this, but I think it's very true. Like, languages, like, every day... words are born, words live, and words die. Mm-hmm. And the evolution of the language is like a living thing where, like, and it's, you see it in how everything evolves, because it's like, it's not just trends and how words are created, it's also like how we use the word. Like a word that was like 200 years ago we used in one way, today it has a completely different meaning, and people are like, what do you mean
it keeps on changing depending on who you are and who you're accompanied by. Like, just think about the culture around fiber arts.
Yes.
And how we have this secret language that seemingly only if you're in the arts you can understand. For example,
K3 Tog. The number of...
the
number of times people are like, what are those initials?
What does that mean?
When they see my tattoo, and then I'm like, no, it's a knitting thing. And they're like, what? It's a word? And I'm like, technically it's an acronym, but like, okay, fine. It has, it's like its own language.
Like last week, for example, one of my friends that doesn't knit or crochet texted me, and she was like, Annie, you've ruined my algorithm. TikTok is sending me these like multiple memes of people like wearing sweaters before and after blocking. What the hell is blocking? Why are they so excited about it? I don't understand.
Sorry, Julie.
Sorry, Julie. And so I explained...
Sorry, not sorry.
I explained to her, like, oh, blocking is like when you finish an item for the first time and it's like a little tight or it doesn't fit quite right. You soak it, you let it dry, you pin it in a certain position, and the way that you pin it is the way that it dries. Yeah. And it'll fit you
You're relaxing the
fibers,
better,
right?
Yeah.
It'll fit more better.
And so... English.
And so just that simple thing of like the connotation that we have assigned to the word blocking is now so obscure outside of anyone who doesn't knit.
Yeah. Yep.
That it's creating now a vacuum language that only we share. Yeah. And that's so special to me because it's the same word, but we use it to connect with each other and to have these sort of like inside jokes with the rest of the world that is just beautiful to see.
And I think every group has that, right? Like
language
us as
is
knitting,
culture,
but like
and we make
exactly.
it.
Like I'm sure, like every hobby to a certain degree has their own like little like terminology
exactly.
language that
Yeah.
like it's the and that's beautiful. That's amazing to me.
Kind of like I remember my partner and some friends, like pretty much all of my friends used to play League of Legends. I never got into it, but I quite like the character design. Anyway, a lot of acronyms came out of playing that game online because it was like a multiplayer like
role play game.
Like, no, it wasn't a role play game. It was like it's like a anyway, it's hard to explain. It's League of Legends. But you would have a match, and then at the end of the match there would be a team who is a winner and a team who is a loser, right? And so a lot of quick typing shorthand was developed in order for the teams of people who were not in the same space together to communicate with each other during their team, like among their team to play, and also to communicate with the other team to like either like banter or chirp or and so at the end of the game the losers like would say GG, and that meant like
gotta go.
No, good game.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's okay, good game. Don't worry about it. We'll try again. GG. And
nice.
it like developed into like now everybody knows, like not everybody. Some like most people know what GG means.
Online gamers know what GG
online
is.
gamers know what GG is because like, you would say it in real life as in like, well, there's nothing more to do. We did our best. Let's move on.
Yeah.
GG.
Whereas when I hear GG as the millennial T9 text generation, my first thought is gotta go.
You don't say GTG?
We did. We said both.
I said G2G.
G2 got to
Got
go.
to go.
Gotta go. Got to go. They both work.
Yeah.
I saw both.
I love it. I love language.
I still
as
say
it
ruffle
develops.
out loud sometimes.
Ruffle?
Ruffle. Rolling on floor lapping.
Rufflecopter? Yeah.
I still say that sometimes. And I am showing my whole age when I do it.
I
It's
also
okay.
love that you say lol.
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 I do. Unironically, I'll say lol in conversation.
Yeah. I say LOL. I just think it's like even more cringy.
I just laugh.
It's like, wait, how can I say this in the cringiest possible way?
I just
my
laugh.
I want to make it clear I'm not a child. I'm like a cringy millennial.
Okay, so this is apparently the day of like me and my little tiny anecdotes about like my life and my childhood. I just found my high school yearbook recently as part of my pack up and move.
Oh my god, Jerma's in the chat. GG. Did you hear me talking about you? I'm sorry.
Oops. His ears are burning.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found my yearbook recently, my 12th grade, my final year of high school yearbook, and I was looking through it, and you know how, like, you could write, like, message, like, as a graduating class, you could, like, write what your thing would say, and, like, you'd write a note to your friends, and, like, you'd list all of your like, inside jokes from the year. Well,
That's not an experience that I had, but I love to hear it.
Okay, so that's what we had in my high school, and I was reading through it, and it's literally just, like, a list of all of the inside jokes, and, like, some of them I could kind of remember, but then I hit one, and it said LeMayo, like, LE space MAYO, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I was like sitting on it for a while. And then I went, oh my God, we used to say LMAO to each other. But then we kind of turned it into this thing where we'd go LeMayo when we were laughing at each other. And so this was an inside joke I had in high school with my friends where if we were laughing.
It's like, why were you so
like,
into mayonnaise?
I
don't get it.
Like, if we
Was
thought
it
something was
Kewpie,
funny, we'd go LeMayo. And it's just like, wow, that was easily 15 years ago. And yet, it took me a minute, but I got it.
I
love it. It is past 3, so
Oh my
we should
goodness.
probably do an inspiration
Well, we've been inspired, obviously, because we haven't stopped chatting
the whole time.
All right. Who's ready for a little inspiration?
Me.
Carine, what are you inspired by?
You're gonna be proud of me.
Oh, you brought an example.
Oh my God, so
Well,
did I.
it's not so much an example as what inspired me is
Okay.
what we did last week, or what we talked about last week.
What did we talk about last week? I can't remember already.
So, I cast on a pair of socks.
You cast on socks.
Oh shit, this is the
I'm so proud of you and excited.
So yeah, I'm it's toes up, which is a little annoying. I'm not gonna lie, I prefer the opposite, but I will take it. I really like this particular.
Is that Shirley
yarn.
Bryan yarn as well?
I think so.
Oh my God, is this a Shirley Bryan day?
No, it's
That is Shirley Bryan. Yeah.
Wait! I got my Shirley Bryan socks too.
Hold on. We're Team Canadian yarn buyers right here.
Hello, Shirley Bryan Yarns. Please sponsor us. Just kidding, but not really.
Oh, so good.
But yeah, so like that's my inspiration was last week. I decided, so I'm doing I have it here because I'm one of those people. I printed it out.
That's okay. I do
love
too.
it. I have a paper pattern.
I have the vanilla sock with gusset choice of heel by Joe Tor.
Nice. Oh, those are the ones you made before.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't remember this.
But yeah, like it looks pretty cool.
I made one called a simple sock.
Oh, but it was
with
also by
integrated heel.
Joe Tor, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I think that was it. It's the same design.
I'm not sure what I'm doing, but it's fun. Like I mean,
I love it.
You know, like it's not so much that I don't know what I'm doing. It's more that I'm not used to it.
I have to say, it might have been fiddly at the beginning, but I much prefer a toe-up sock because I don't have to do the grafting stitch at the end. And if there's something about me is that I'm not gonna remember how to graft. I have to look it up every time.
You know, I could not remember how to graft, and then I almost booked an appointment to get the instructions tattooed on my arm. And then after that, I never forgot it. I didn't even need the tattoo. I didn't get the tattoo. I was so close to getting it tattooed, and then all of a sudden it stuck.
Can you please tattoo it on your forehead backwards so you can read it in the mirror?
So I would just recommend thinking about getting it tattooed on your body, and then you'll never forget it.
Okay, I do
You're
like
like
that.
book an appointment, and then it'd be like, no, I'm good now.
Hey,
No,
Zoe.
you know what?
Zoe, you free next weekend? One of our favorite artists in the city.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
Oh my god, Zoe, we're coming for you.
I just put in a request.
Yeah. If you're in Ottawa and you haven't gotten tatted by Zoe from Baby Tats,
Or Robin from Obscura.
or Robin from Obscura,
We've gone back
or
to these
Taylor
two artists.
from Baby Tats,
Or Mary Lynn.
Many
or Mary
times.
Lynn.
Can you tell we really support the tattoo industry here in Ottawa?
and
We
it's
do.
about that time of the year when I'm starting to get the itch. Yeah. So I'm coming for you, Zoe and Robin. But before that, I've actually made an appointment for March.
Yes, you were saying. I've heard about this. I'm so excited for you.
I'm going to get a forearm piece by an artist here in Ottawa that I've been following for years.
Her work is beautiful.
Literally years. Her handle is Engraver Marie, or Mari. I think her name's Mariana.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get it's kind of like a medieval print kind of style. And I'm going to get Penelope weaving.
Penelope is in the wife of Odysseus from the Greek myth.
Yeah.
Odyssey,
The Greek myth of Penelope and Odysseus. So I'm going to get like Penelope right here.
Oh, I
She's
love
gonna
that
be
for
weaving.
you.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have something, like...
Did you see that, I think it's Christopher Nolan who's making a new...
Yeah, he's doing the Odyssey.
Is he really?
Yeah. And it,
Right on time, baby.
I know. And it sounds like it's going to be a pretty epic thing.
I'm going to be really...
Do you hear it?
It's an epic poem.
I see where you go. I see where you're going here.
I mean, see, this is me trying to get my my what do you call it, dad joke, my dad joke for like the
Excellent
certification.
I feel like we should get one of those buttons that goes.
Yeah,
we should.
Wait, we could just make it a thing on the computer.
Yeah, but then I have to like reach in.
Oh, true.
And I'm old and I don't wanna.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, what are you inspired by?
I am actually inspired by. I've got it right back here because I was using it to read my pattern. So I can't remember if I said last week that I was burnt out of socks.
You were.
Yes,
I was last time we were here 2 weeks ago. Well, within 12 hours of us recording or streaming last time, my brain went, but socks?
But socks.
But socks though.
But socks though. So
Here we are.
So I haven't cast anything on. I did intentionally force myself not to immediately go back to socks because I did want to
have a little
bit of a break, and I also wanted to continue on with the whips that I was working on, and I knew I was going to be casting on this shawl. So I was like, slow your roll there, Al. So I have knit several pairs of socks from one of our favorite local designers, Marie-Elise Dugal.
Mm-hmm.
I've knit so
We love
many...
you, Marie-Elise!
Yeah,
I've
we
knit
do.
so many of her socks. They fit wonderfully. They make excellent gifts. Well, in January, she came out with the Year of the Snakes socks.
Oh, and they're so beautiful.
In celebration of Chinese New Year.
Yeah, well, Lunar New Year if you're not in China.
I lived in China for a few years.
So for you, that's what it is.
I've celebrated it in China. I tend to say Chinese New Year. Either way, she came out with the sock pattern, And as soon as I saw them, I was like, okay, well, I need those. I need to make those. But I was on a little sock ban temporarily. So next week I'm going to be doing some traveling. I'm going to be sitting on a plane for a few hours. And I was like, that's the perfect time to work on some cabled socks.
Yeah.
So I have already picked I haven't caked the yarn. This is how I'm making myself stick to my guns. If I don't cake the yarn, I can't impulsively cast it on. So
you're gonna wait until the day before.
I picked the yarn, like I saw the pattern and then I immediately was like, I don't know exactly which yarn. So I have So this is just an Ottawa combo right here. So this is
God.
Melissa, you outdid yourself.
Melissa, you're killing me.
I just want to
Oh my God.
This is Alley Cat Yarns, a local to us dyer whom we've known for several years. We love Melissa. We love her work. This is her BFL sock
yarn.
base in the colorway Straw. I've had this in my stash for a little while now, and I've just been waiting because I knew I wanted to do something cable-y with the tonal, because then that wouldn't like obscure. Because if I did like something speckly, you're gonna lose all that texture.
Yeah.
But
BFL socks are the sturdiest, most luxurious fabric.
right? So
Oh my God.
I'm really stoked because
It's so soft.
First of all, I love the base. I love the color.
The color is incredible.
Second of all, I love the pattern. And while I was getting everything ready today, I was like, you know what? These could be for me, but these could also be for my mom.
Oh.
Which is good because when I knit her socks,
Susan, get ready.
the only difference between the socks I knit for my mom and the socks I knit for me are the length of the foot. So I can get 80% of the way through a single sock and then decide who the recipient is, essentially. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start working on these, and depending on how kind I'm feeling, I may end up making them for her, or I may just be like, no, and be a little goblin and make them for me. So this is what's really inspiring me this week, the combination of the local designer and dyer whom I love so very deeply, and honestly, who doesn't like celebrating Chinese New Year? Lunar New Year? Who doesn't love celebrating?
Incredible.
So pretty stoked to work on those. So that's my inspiration.
I love that. Nice.
Yeah. And for you?
Yeah.
I have been really inspired, not necessarily to knit, but in general, I've been inspired by an Instagram account that I recently started following called Works of Hands. And Works of Hands focuses on showcasing textile arts from different, I want to say indigenous populations.
Oh, cool.
But just like regionally based textile art done the traditional way.
Okay.
So I've been getting a lot of content. I've been consuming a lot of content from them, and I'm just quite inspired to, like reconnect with my own roots and try to do something more weaving and loom based, or a bit more embroidery, which is what is popular in the region of Mexico where I'm from. So I'm just like, I want to pick up a needle now and some embroidery thread and just start doing some of the things that I've told myself before that I wanted to make. Namely, for a couple of years now, I've wanted to make tortilla napkins. So for those of you that didn't grow up in Mexico, it's very common in your home. You'll have like a linen, like a coarse linen big napkin with a crochet lace border and embroidery in the middle. And it's very colorful, and its only purpose is to be folded up in quarters and hold your warm tortillas on the table.
I love that.
That is the only purpose of this napkin. It cannot be used for anything else because it's white with embroidery on it, so you cannot put anything in it or use it to absorb stuff or spills.
Yep.
It's just a decorative cloth that's been prepared specifically to hold your warm tortillas at the table. So I want to make at least one of them, and just
great.
use it on my table because I do continue to eat tortillas with most of my meals.
Yes. I mean, why not? They're delicious.
And I don't have a spot for them to be like cozy and decorated and cute. So I've been inspired by Works of Hands to do a little bit more of traditional textile art. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's giving me the warm and fuzzies.
I know.
Right?
And maybe it's time for us to go get warm and fuzzy. Maybe have a little sweet treat, have a little warm drink. Tell us how you are going to get warm and cozy on this winter day, if it is winter when you are watching this. And also, I want to know what's inspiring you. Are you inspired by a maker, a color, a specific piece of material that you've got going on, a new pattern that you want to make, a podcast? What's bringing you joy? And put it in the chat. I want to know and get inspired from you.
And it's always good to know what is bringing you joy, because then you can hold on to it for when things are crappy.
Yeah.
Track that joy. Track your joy.
Okay, homework for everybody. Let's make a list of glimmers.
Oh, yeah.
You know what triggers are, right?
Yeah.
Glimmers are the opposite of triggers. So if you make a list of glimmers, you'll have a top 10 things that you can seek out for yourself, and they'll immediately bring you joy.
Yeah.
And if you aren't sure, just think of what is something where as soon as you interact with it, see it, hear it, smell it, whatever, you involuntarily smile.
Yeah, that's a glimmer. That's a glimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now for me, that's works of hands.
You were talking about tortillas, and I was like, that's a glimmer for me
Yeah,
now.
that's a glimmer.
I'm realizing.
Warm tortillita.
Not to trivialize it.
No, but it is quite joyful.
But experiencing food cultures.
Yeah, exactly.
And new to me food cultures, that's the glimmer for me. Is what I'm saying. Anyway.
Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
We've been talking for over an hour.
Yay!
But, as usual, we are your friendly neighborhood Pearls. And we'll be back with you with a recorded video in 2 weeks from now. And then back again live streaming 2 weeks after that. And we will make sure to schedule it here on YouTube so that you know when it's coming, and you'll get a little bit of notification before then. In the meantime, follow us on social media, because we're going to be on vacation and sharing some pictures of the beach and what we're knitting at the beach and what we're eating and stuff. So yeah, some fresh content coming your way.
And if you've ever thought about socks, tune in 2 weeks from now.
Some tips there. Bye.
See you later, friends.